Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with you on technically an anniversary episode, I guess I can say, because this is episode 350. 350 episodes of Inside the Force. Now, that of course doesn't count all the other episodes and shows that we're doing, like Beyond the Saga, Council Sessions, Masters of the Order, and now Dark Knowledge. But just Inside the Force, our weekly show, this is episode 350. So not sure if everybody listened. I'm pretty sure not everybody listening has been here the whole time. So we appreciate everybody that's joined us over the years. In a couple of weeks, actually, you want to talk about anniversaries. In a couple of weeks, on March 25th, I think it's actually a Friday also, that is actually our 9-year anniversary. I started this podcast with Casey Cooley back in 2013, right after a few months after we knew that Disney bought Lucasfilm and, was in production on episode 7 and all this new content was coming out. So that's why we started doing the show, and we've been going ever since. So again, thanks for joining and following and all that stuff. I mean, it's been crazy, and I know I haven't done the best, I guess, in marketing this show and whatnot, but I think it's slowly grown and definitely got a good fan base, I feel like, that enjoys listening to us. I've heard your comments. I've heard your emails. So that's the only reason why I keep doing this, to be honest. Because it is, it's tough finding the time sometimes, but I love Star Wars so much that it's constantly something that I want to talk about. So here we are talking about it, and we've got some incredible things to talk about today on this episode, mainly because of the brand new teaser trailer that has dropped now for Obi-Wan Kenobi that's debuting in May 25th. Can't wait. I mean, just literally can't wait for that. Very excited. I'm going to talk about that trailer later in this episode. Of course, right now, though, let's talk about some news, and then, of course, what's coming in the publication world, as we always do. And then, I want to break down this Obi-Wan teaser trailer for you as best as I can, because so much in there. So we'll get to that. First, let's talk about, I got a couple things here. One is also a video that got released just the other day. Is if you've remember me talking several episodes ago about Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, the LEGO game, right? That's coming out April 5th. I love these LEGO games. I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to play it. I'm dying to just play a Star Wars game. I was thinking about going back and playing Jedi Fallen Order again, because I've been missing just playing Star Wars games. I do still dive into the VR, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. I still got a couple things to do on that, so I've been doing that a little bit. But excited about this LEGO game. I actually can't wait to spend hours and hours in this thing, because if you watch this featurette that's out there, and it's not on Star Wars' YouTube channel. If you go to StarWars.com, you can find it. But it's actually on Warner Brothers Games YouTube channel. And it's just it's a little featurette called Building the Galaxy. And the main thing they talk about in there is really how vast this game is. All the worlds and planets that are experienced and viewed in the 9 Skywalker films. All those are in there. You can explore them. There's so many side missions. Apparently, there's a lot of distractions and different things you can do that's beyond the normal missions, which is, I'm assuming, the storyline of the saga. So it's just, one person who was interviewed mentioned it, that, I'm I'm in the middle of playing the game, and then 30 minutes later, I'm realizing I'm not even doing anything that's involved in the main mission. So there you go. It's just going to be constant exploring and looking around and doing things. And that's the best part about the Lego stuff. To me, it's the challenge of finding all the things that they've put in the game, unlocking all the characters, all the vehicles and things like that. So I'm real excited about that. I'm real excited about diving into that and really playing that. Can't wait to see everything that happens with that. But again, comes out April 5th. You can actually pre-order it now, and if you pre-order the deluxe edition, you get a Luke Skywalker with blue milk minifig. So, and that's only for this. I think it says in the parentheses for a physical copy of the game only. Oh yeah, because you actually get the minifig. It's not the character in the game. It's actually the minifig, which I actually really do want. So I'm probably going to pre-order that so I can get that minifig. That's going to be pretty neat. Looking forward to that very, very much. Again, April 5th. No, that's not spring break. I think spring break's the week before for us. So, going to play a lot of that. So I'll talk about that as we go. Let's see. One of the also big things that's happened this past week, actually last week, March 1st, was the opening of the Galactic Starcruiser. Everybody should know that is now the, Star Wars hotel experience, 2-night hotel experience down at Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World. Lots and lots of reviews are out there from mainly the media that was able to get on the ship and spend their time on there and experience it. Obviously, a lot of celebrities also were involved in that. I've kind of read a little bit on Ashley Eckstein's experience on there. So do yourself a favor and check it out. Now, the one thing I keep hearing, especially on Twitter, is it's awesome, incredible to see, but maybe not worth the money. And it is fairly priced. I do have to admit that. But it's crazy because if you think about it, I believe if you get one cabin and 4 people, say a family of 4 like mine, my wife and my 2 daughters, if we go, it's, just the room itself, I think, is about $4,000. And it does include food and drinks, but it does include alcohol. And of course, I'm going to buy things. I'm going to spend money on merchandise. So, it's a $45,000 to $5,000 trip. Plus, you got to get down there, right? So for me, I can drive. It'll take basically a whole day, about 12 hours. Or you fly, spend another $1,000 on tickets, plane tickets. So that right there for a 2-night stay is almost more expensive, basically almost more expensive than what me and my family do in a whole week at Disney World. So that is tough. Now, the way I was looking at doing it was, getting me and 4 of my friends and piling in one of those $5,000 cabins. Therefore, you're splitting it. So then you're spending about $1,500 probably. A little more easier to swallow for me anyway. But my plans of going this year have been derailed because I ended up going to the Super Bowl, which I mentioned on this a couple weeks ago. I spent all my money on that. So my extra money anyway. So I am not going to go to the Star Cruiser this year. I'm definitely going to plan on going next year. I think there's a couple friends of mine that are definitely on board for next year as well. So I'm going to wait it out. Unfortunately, that might mean I might miss out on some things because I do feel like that they will modify the experience a little bit. I got to get a little drink here. Oh, excuse me. I do think they're gonna modify a little bit because with all the feedback coming in and the price, I don't know. The thing I worry about, because I do think I'll love it. I think I'm gonna, go crazy about what you see, what you experience, how it feels to be a part of this this journey. I've been to Batu, I've been to Galaxy's Edge several times now, so that part will be okay. It'll be fun to experience it with other people, other Star Wars fans. I really have only experienced it with my family or another family friend that goes down. But, to see it with some diehard Star Wars fans, and especially if it's their first time, which it probably will be with some of the guys that I go with, that would be fun. But I guess the one thing I worry about is the, how do you say it? The, repeatability, I guess, the re-experiencing it again, because if it's the same thing every time, one visit is enough. And I know it's hard for some people to get there. So doing it one time is probably all that anybody's going to be doing. I just don't see how they can keep that going right now, unless you change it up, which I believe has to be the way that you do it. I mean, I think even Galaxy's Edge needs to be changed up every once in a while. So I am curious on if it's going to be any different next year when I go. And who knows, maybe it'd be cheaper, maybe it'd be better. I don't know. Maybe I think I've said this from the beginning that I think it's hard to ask people to stay there for 2 nights, especially with families. I think they might modify it to maybe have a 1-night stay or even just a day ticket. You get 1 ticket to go on, experience, maybe play a sabacc tournament, have dinner on there, and then you're off. So I think you just open up to more. I think you open up to more people being able to see this thing if you do that, so that's what I'm hoping. Maybe they'll do something like that, but I don't know. They might be happy with what they got. But again, what I'm hearing is that what I'm hearing and seeing is that it's a great experience, once in a lifetime, especially for Star Wars fans. But they question whether or not it's worth it. That the price might be a little too much. So anyway, they got a great article on StarWars.com where you can see some new imagery and you can get a little bit more of the, behind the scenes pictures of what you can do around there. The bar area looks pretty cool. Now, I will say that what I didn't realize that happened is that I knew you can get on there and live your own Star Wars story, right? You can dress up and they provide, I believe they provide you with an outfit if you want it. And, you kind of become this character on there and you can go do missions and help the Resistance or help the First Order. But again, you're locked in this timeline, right, of Star Wars between episodes 8 and 9. And I didn't know this, but there's even a part at the end here where there's a confrontation between Rey and Kylo Ren, which means that is a canon story, and they even talk about this being a canon storyline. So, again, Kylo Ren has his mask, so it's a little, different there as far as continuity-wise, because he technically doesn't have his mask. It's the same with the Rise of the Resistance. But yeah, I think it's interesting to have that. That's what I'm saying, though. It's a little different it's a little harder to keep that storyline going years and years down the road, right? I mean, 5 years from now, the Rey Kylo Ren storyline, I think, will be ready to move on and become another storyline or a different storyline. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, or they change that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe when I go, I don't think that'll change, but something may change about it because they're trying to make it better and modify like Disney always does. They actually do a really good job of that, improving their experiences down there. Okay, moving on to the next big piece of news. I feel like it's something I've been waiting for a long time to hear. Star Wars Celebration. Yes, that is happening also in May, right around the time Obi-Wan starts, May 26th, that weekend. And the crazy thing is, they just announced here on March 7th, tickets are going back on sale. So that was the big question, right? Over the past year, basically, when they moved it up from August to May, was whether or not they were going to sell tickets anymore. California, fortunately, has started to lift a lot of their mandates, right? Things are opening back out there. I do believe, if I read this correctly, you still need to be vaxxed in order to attend. You have to show your proof of vaccination. I do believe I read that they are still requiring masks at the event. So still some restrictions there, but they are. It seems like they are opening up to more people with the resale of tickets. So if you had your tickets prior from Star Wars Celebration that was supposed to happen in 2020, then you can use that ticket still, I'm sure. But on March 15th, tickets are going back on sale, 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm on the East Coast, so that's noon here on the East Coast. Let's see. Tickets will be limited and may sell out quickly, so mark your calendars and get ready to punch it. Of course, they got exclusive merchandise still for Anaheim 2022. Interesting graphic they got. Pretty interesting. Kind of highlights Luke, Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and Grogu, and then Darth Maul, and Vader, of course. So interesting that they chose those symbols for this celebration. It is the 20th anniversary of Episode 2, which is cool. And in May also, I mean, literally the 20th anniversary that May. So anyway, Anaheim 2022 Star Wars Celebration, May 26th to 29th of this year. Tickets go on sale again March 15th. So if you're interested in going, this is another one that I wish I could go to, but I'm not going to be able to. Like I said, just went out to California and did the Super Bowl last month. Kind of used all my savings, not all my savings, but my short-term savings cash that I was saving for Starcruiser and Celebration. But unfortunately, yeah, it's part of me though is like, I do want to kind of miss this one just because with the whole mask thing, I'd rather go and be able to not worry about that and see everybody's faces. I thought And I wonder if it's still going to be limited capacity in a sense, because the thing about Star Wars Celebration is, man, there's a lot of people that are there, and are shoulder to shoulder sometimes. One of the best memories I have is the last celebration. We jammed into the exhibit hall and watched the teaser trailer for episode 9 that dropped. I mean, just thousands of people just in there right on top of each other. So, that's the kind of experience I love about Star Wars Celebration. And I don't know if it's going to be like that this time. So this is the first one I'll be missing since I started going, which was Celebration 3 in 2005. So the only celebrations I had missed were the 2 before that, 1 and 2, that were in Denver, Colorado, I believe. But ever since Celebration 3, I've gone to every single one of them. So this will be the first one that I miss. And I'll be honest, this is probably going to be the only one that I miss, because I will start going again, and hopefully, there won't be any restrictions anymore. So I can't wait to do that again. I'm actually going to be going to Anaheim in June, a month later, or actually 2 weeks later from there, because I'm going to Disneyland with the family. So that's another reason why I'm not going to Celebration. I'll be actually going there. And I was actually trying to line it up to where I was there for Celebration as well as my family there for Disneyland, but we weren't sure exactly. That was kind of towards the end of their school, and we might be having, it's harder because my wife's a teacher. It's harder for her to take off the last couple of days of school. So obviously we didn't know when that was going to be. And then my daughter's birthday's in June. So we thought, well, we'll just go again during her birthday. So I think it would have been neat to try to line that up to go during Celebration, but that didn't happen. So anyway, I will be experiencing Star Wars Celebration the next round. Plus, I would have probably been going by myself because, as you guys know from this show, Casey's still, raising young twins, and Cody just had a baby. So they're not able to go. Corey may not be able to. He probably could have gone. Me and him probably would have been the only ones, but other than that, I would have been fine going by myself, to be honest, because it's such a great time. And you see a lot of people that you know there. So anyway, next time, hopefully they don't wait 3 more years to do it again. Hopefully it's in 2024 probably. I know they actually they look like they were trying to do this almost every year, but that might be a little harder for them. So we'll see. But anyway, again, March 15th, if you guys want to go, there is tickets are back on sale March 15th for the May Star Wars Celebration. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention news-wise was, interesting enough, they are coming out with a Mandalorian comic based on season 1. So it's not a new story, which is what I wish they would do, but it is just a comic series based on season 1 of The Mandalorian. So that is coming soon. Not sure the exact date on that, but look for that at some point on your comic shelves. Okay, so let's see. Let's get into some publications here before we get into the Obi-Wan trailer. Great news. I don't know if I had done a show since I read this, but finally, Queen's Hope, which is the 3rd book from E.K. Johnston, who wrote Queen's Shadow and Queen's Peril. The 3rd book, Queen's Hope, is coming out April 5th, but now it's been confirmed that the audiobook is again going to be narrated by Catherine Tabor, who obviously everybody knows is the voice of Padme in the Clone Wars. So that is fantastic. Can't wait to dive into that April 5th and just continue that storyline, because I think it's fantastic hearing about Padme's story through the voice of Padme. Of course, you got Brotherhood, the Anakin and Obi-Wan novel, coming May 10th. Shadow of the Sith, June 28th. Padawan, July 26th, which is another Obi-Wan book. The Princess and the Scoundrel, August 16th. You remember that is the book that takes place immediately after Return of the Jedi and involves the wedding of Leia and Han. And then later on in the year, the High Republic Convergence, October 4th, and High Republic Path of Deceit, November 1st. And then comics, the Halcyon Legacy, which is the ship of the Galactic Starcruiser, number 2, comes out next week, March 16th. Bounty Hunters 21, March 16th. Dr. Aphra 19, March 16th. Vader 21, March 16th. And then I believe that's it for March as far as comics. And then you've got in April, early April, Star Wars 22, Crimson Reign number 4, Bounty Hunters number 22, and Halcyon number 3, which comes out April 13th. So those are your upcoming comics. I feel like some of those have been shifting a lot lately and moving a lot. This past week, March 9th, I saw the release of Han Solo and Chewbacca number 1. I'm going to get that and read that right away. I definitely want to dive into that series. So that just came out yesterday on March 6th or March 9th. So go check that out if you can. Can't wait to see where that goes. Curious to see if that takes place closer to episode 4, or is it shortly after Solo, the movie? Because Solo, at the end of Solo, him and Chewie were heading to Tatooine to hook up with Jabba. So I feel like it could be around that time. Interested on that. All right, let's get into this. It was funny because I read some rumors and whatnot that this Obi-Wan trailer was dropping this week. Of course, when you hear things like that, you never know. It's hit or miss with people reporting. But ended up being true, because we got the first teaser for Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's funny because I tweeted out, I saw an image of Obi-Wan on the Entertainment Weekly cover. And Entertainment Weekly ended up putting out some stills, in their cover story about the show. And I tweeted out saying, well, actually it looks like the trailers should be soon. And sure enough, the next day it dropped. And what a trailer it is. I mean, look, I'm already excited for this thing. Ecstatic, really, to be honest. But this trailer just hit it on every level. First off, it looks incredibly gorgeous. Now, one thing I was thinking about when I saw it, after I watched it for the 10th or 12th time or whatever, it's, if you think back so far in our live action shows, we've had Mandalorian and we have the Book of Boba Fett, and now we're about to get Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I know that not all of the Mandalorian takes place on Tatooine, but some of it does. Book of Boba Fett pretty much takes place all on Tatooine, right? And now you've got Obi-Wan here that takes place probably mostly on Tatooine, but he does look like he leaves the planet and gets lured away. But I don't know. I don't know if this is true, but part of me is thinking business wise. If I were one of the business officers in Lucasfilm, how am I going to make a bunch of content but not have to spend unnecessary funds? And the way to do that, obviously, is to have, it's different. Basically what I'm getting at is different when you're actually practically shooting on sets, right? For example, if you watch some movies, similar movies, not similar movies, but if you watch some movies that have similar backgrounds or are basically the same background, one thing it always stands out is I'm a big fan of Back to the Future. And in Back to the Future, the downtown courthouse that gets struck by lightning, right, in Hill Valley. It's funny because if you watch the movie Bruce Almighty, Jim Carrey, when he gets anointed with God's powers, there's a part in the movie where things are falling apart and there's riots going on. He's supposed to be living in Buffalo, but in that scene where things are burning and getting torched, there it is. There's the clock tower because they shot on the same set, same backlot that has that courthouse on there. So, again, doing things like that, you're saving money because their sets are already built. Now with the volume, you can be in any set. So you're saving money obviously there, but the practical elements that are not part of the volume that are in the middle of the room, those are seeming to me are getting repurposed. When that shot where he's walking down the street, I got to guess that that's probably the same set that they use for Book of Boba Fett or even Mandalorian. So I wonder, part of me just starts wondering that, when the whole Disney Plus thing came out and they knew they were going to make Star Wars shows, I wonder if part of the conversation was, well, we can make these first three by using the same practical sets in a sense. Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, they're all going to be on Tatooine at some point. Let's use the same stuff. Therefore, you're obviously saving production time and production budgets. So, anyway, that's, if you don't know me fully yet, I run a production company here as far as my full-time job. So, a lot of that stuff I do think about. So, that's one of the things I thought about as I watched this. It's very familiar, right? We've seen this type of scenery in all of the live action shows so far. So I'm actually ready, even though, again, this is the most anticipated for me, the most anticipated show for me. Cannot wait to see Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I cannot wait also to see something beyond this. A different part of the galaxy, a different story. Andor, it looks like it's going to be the next one. So I would venture to guess that that's not going to take place on Tatooine. So excited for that. And then, of course, you got Ahsoka. I think it's going to be the next live action after that, or Mandalorian Season 3 maybe first. But probably get away from Tatooine at that point. Anyway, that's just kind of where my head was going at first when I first saw him walking down the street and seeing this first shot of the desert. You just got a lot of shots of him in the desert, walking around, living in that isolation. And then, of course, the great shot of him looking out on the Lars homestead and seeing young Luke playing. So this is the first 24 seconds, and it's exactly what we all thought about Obi-Wan, the protector, the guy that's sitting there watching over Luke, living in isolation, trying to keep his head down. I mean, that is the summary of what's happening with him. Actually, the first 29 seconds. I mean, that right there is, they summed up in 30 seconds the entire imagery of what we've had Obi-Wan up until now, right? We knew that he went into hiding at the end of episode 3. We know that he gets back in the game when Luke comes and looks for him, or when R2 basically goes and looks for him in episode 4. So the time, the 19 years between those two movies, we're just assuming that, he's been hiding there, living in isolation. No one knows he's alive. And that's it. He's just there waiting for the opportunity, if ever, that will come and Luke will be ready to go. So, perfect way to, in my opinion, to start the trailer. Now, the next perfect way to start this, to continue this thing, is Duel the Fates. I cannot believe that they use that song because, well, I shouldn't say I can't believe they didn't use it. The creative mind to think about using it was perfect. For one, it describes, it's the one theme that describes, it describes the storyline in episode 1 and, of course, the prequels itself, but it's the one sound that I think as soon as you hear, it just makes you think prequels, right? Duel the Fates is, besides maybe the Binary Sunset, and for me, Yoda's theme, Duel the Fates is top 3 tracks in all of Star Wars. It's incredible, and every time you hear it, you want to keep listening to it. And this, adding it to this, was just literally perfect. So, I'm just going to kind of skim through this as I talk about it. But, oh yeah, and then after that, of course, you're seeing this ship approach the Inquisitor fortress in the water, which we got a first look at during the Jedi Fallen Order game. So that, again, just right there makes me want to go back and play the game, because I think we're going to get a lot of information, a lot more information about the Inquisitors. Right now, the Inquisitors have lived in Star Wars Rebels, Jedi Fallen Order, the comics, in the Vader series that takes place shortly after episode 3. You see him begin the training of these Inquisitors, and especially the Grand Inquisitor that we see in Rebels. I just think we're going to get a lot of history with them, some backstory, hopefully, with some of them. I know it's going to be a little harder to deep dive in all of them, but a couple of them seems like they're going to be in the forefront here. The Grand Inquisitor is in this. Fifth Brother is in this. Those are the ones that we kind of know about from Rebels. There's two other, looks like there's two other Inquisitors in here that I don't know, and I don't know if they're new or maybe they're in the comics. I don't remember them, but it's really cool to see somehow, which is interesting part of the series that I'm looking forward to, is somehow the Inquisitors are drawn to Tatooine. And I wonder what sparked that. Did Obi-Wan, I'm pretty sure he didn't probably use his lightsaber, but somehow somebody got wind that there's a Jedi maybe on Tatooine. Love that Joel Eggerton is back as Owen Lars. It's just crazy to think that after all these years, Episode 3 came out in 2005, meaning that they shot the thing in 2003, because back then it took a couple years of post-production. So it literally has been almost 20 years. 19 years since that movie came out. And he's able to, Lucasfilm has been able to get the same cast, mainly with, Ewan, with Hayden, and now Joel. And I believe they got, her name escapes me, I believe they got the same actress that plays Aunt Beru. So, it's incredible. You got, to keep the continuity like that together. I'm just so glad that those actors agreed to come back and do this. Of course, there's rumors. I wouldn't go so far as to believe it yet, but there are rumors that possibly there's a Liam Neeson appearance somehow with maybe Force Ghost Qui-Gon. That would be very, very interesting. I think as far as canon goes with that, I think that maybe he doesn't, that he first appears to Obi-Wan during episode 4, after Luke runs off and discovers the, Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen have died. That Obi-Wan sees a vision of Qui-Gon. Not 100% sure about that, but I believe that that's the first time he does it. So maybe he doesn't see him in this. Maybe he hears him because, Qui-Gon does speak through the cosmic force. That's how he was able to commune with Yoda at the end of episode 3. So that's a possibility, is that we could hear Liam Neeson, not see him. But they also can't just retcon, that easily. So that is interesting of why these Inquisitors are coming to Tatooine. But they know something. So then we get in this shot where it's at nighttime and the Inquisitor's on top of this building. It's definitely not on Tatooine at this point. So this is where Obi-Wan is drawn off world. I don't believe it's Coruscant either. It does kind of seem like the nightlife of Coruscant, but it doesn't look, you don't see a lot of the vast buildings in the background. So could be, doesn't look like Alderaan either. It kind of looks like Corellia. Or again, it could just be a new planet, but I would think Corellia, possibly. Maybe it's Chandrila, because Mon Mothma is, that's Mon Mothma's home world. Maybe she's there, and Obi-Wan is coming to meet up with her and Bail, but I don't know. Don't know what that is. And then, of course, we just get a couple other glimpses of some Inquisitors. We get another droid that looks like he's about to get hit over the head by a stormtrooper. I believe if that's right. Something like that. There's, Inquisitor jumping around, and then you got your Grand Inquisitor with the propeller lightsaber. Now a lot of people are obviously complaining about this Grand Inquisitor's look. Very similar to some people on, Cad Bane, of course, Ahsoka. I mean, it is hard. I get it. It is hard when you're so used to the way a certain character looks in animation that if it doesn't look like that in live action, then it could take you out of it. It could make you think it's not the same character. But because to be honest, when I first saw this trailer, he looks like an Inquisitor, but I didn't think it was the Grand Inquisitor. Turns out it is. So he does look different. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't take me out of it. It's not gonna, make me not watch the show. But it's definitely, it definitely doesn't do anything for the story for me. If it's not him, I mean, if it's him, it doesn't look exactly like him. I can live with it. Because if this was my first look at him, for example, my wife has not seen Rebels. So when she sees this is going to be her vision, her memory of Grand Inquisitor. So if she goes and watches Star Wars Rebels, that's going to look different to her and odd to her. So it works both ways. I think it's just because we're so used to one, when it changes, we don't necessarily like it. Now, again, you can make the argument that, well, they should just make them look the same. I get that argument too, but I think the animation side that we've seen with Star Wars hasn't always been realistic characteristics, it's been animated characteristics. I mean, just like Dooku, Dooku looks nothing like Christopher Lee. But we've been okay with it, I think, just because it's been animation. But now that these characters are making the jump to live action, it is going to get a little harder. But, as long as we just stick with the stories and the characters themselves. I mean, even Fifth Brother's getting a little bit of slack, but, I can tell that that's him. I mean, just because of likeness. But now that when he's, when Fifth Brother's walking with these stormtroopers behind him, I mean, that does look like Coruscant. So maybe it is Coruscant because, I mean, that looks, kind of in the lower levels. But I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere new. Got some great action here with shots. Love just love the way it looks. Looks incredible. Hope survives. So that is pretty cool. Pretty cool imagery. What's the text here? The text is between darkness and defeat, hope survives. See, it all comes down to hope, right? I mean, Dave Filoni said it best. Star Wars is about hope. It's about family and hope survives. And that hope is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, the bottom line, so a couple last things. One, obviously, we didn't see Vader. We hear his breathing at the end, so we know we're going to get Vader. We know Hayden is going to be in this thing. So I do believe that my guess is that May the 4th will be the drop of a full trailer for Obi-Wan. That's where we'll get our glimpse of Vader. I honestly don't need to see anything else. I'm already excited about this show. Been excited for this show. This takes it to a different level. I'm ready for it. That's all I need. I don't need to see anything else. Will I watch another trailer? Absolutely. But if you didn't give me one, I'm not going to be upset because that is everything I need to see. We know he's going to fight Vader. I don't need to see it in the trailer. I'll see it in the series. I believe the 6 episodes is what we're getting. So, man, I mean, we're going to get nearly 6 hours of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm just extremely grateful that Ewan came back and agreed to do this, and I just think it's going to be phenomenal. So can't wait for this. Is definitely, I believe, because I don't know if anybody else is out there. I'd love to hear your comments about it. I have not gone back and rewatched Book of Boba Fett. Not sure I will. I've gone back and watched a couple episodes of Mandalorian now, especially the one with Ahsoka and Luke. This series, this Obi-Wan series, I'm telling you right now, this is one that I will rewatch. Basically just as much as I rewatch the movies. I will rewatch this series. I think that's how much I'm going to love it. That's how much I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be the best live action series that they do. Pretty bold statement, I know, because Mandalorian is pretty good, but I mean, come on, Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think Obi-Wan is one of the most popular characters already, but I think this is going to put him on another level. I really do. And I think Hayden coming back and playing Vader again, I think we're going to see some incredible fighting style of Vader's that we haven't seen yet. And I think that's going to bring Vader back a lot of people's minds again, because he's starting to a little bit fade back, with Kylo, and then now with everything that's happening in Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and stuff like that. So it's going to be good to get more Vader. So anyway, I'm kind of just ranting at this point, but man, I'm excited. More to come on, I'm sure we'll talk about Obi-Wan, but love to hear your thoughts on the trailer, what you guys felt like was good or bad, or was it too much for you? Was it not enough for you? Did it increase your anticipation or excitement for it? Let's find out. Okay, last couple things. Just wanted to say thanks everybody for your comments on the new show Dark Knowledge that we're doing. Some good stuff there. Got another episode dropping next week where we dive into basically the Sith Order and a little bit of these Inquisitors. Enjoying that show. So love the comments so far on that. Yeah, so again, interested to hear what everybody's thinking is on the Obi-Wan trailer. And then the last thing I will say, of course, this comes as sad news, but as everybody knows, or maybe they don't know, but Alan Ladd Jr. passed away just recently. For those of you that don't know who Alan Ladd Jr. is, he is basically the reason that Star Wars even got made. Alan Ladd Jr. worked for 20th Century Fox. If you know the story, I'll just kind of briefly say it, but everyone was turning down Lucas's script for Star Wars back in the mid-'70s. And Alan Ladd, in the famous interview that George gave, Alan Ladd told him, I don't understand it. I don't know if it's going to do any good, but I believe in you. I loved American Graffiti, and I believe in you, so let's do it. And, he gave him the money to make Star Wars. Of course, if you watch any of the behind-the-scenes stories about how Star Wars got made, it was a very slow production. It went over budget, but it ended up breaking all kinds of records and making all kinds of money and being nominated for Academy Awards and whatnot. So, and then from there, George was able to build his empire. He was able to, take a loan out and do Empire on his own, own everything, do Jedi on his own, own everything. Of course, he owned everything up until he sold to Disney. So, Alan Ladd made it to 84. Sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers to his family and to everybody that was able to cross paths with him. But all of us Star Wars fans should be grateful for him to give him that chance, to give George that chance. So we are here talking about it because of that interaction, to be honest. So rest in peace, Alan Ladd Jr. All right, thanks everybody for listening again. A little bit of an anniversary video, audio track here, episode 350 of Inside the Force. So glad you can join me. Hope to keep going with this, of course, and maybe we'll be here for another 350. Not sure, but we could definitely hope and pray. And as long as there's Star Wars out there, trust me, I'm going to be talking about it. So thanks, everybody. Keep up spreading the word if you can. Got some things in the hopper that I want to share with you later, but I will be back next week to talk more Star Wars with you. Again, check out a new episode of Dark Knowledge also next week. And then after that, I've got some great interviews coming for Masters of the Order and Beyond the Saga. We've got some more episodes of that coming on. We're continuing with the High Republic comic, Star Wars comic. We've got a couple of novels that we're going to be talking about, so lots to come there. And then, of course, council sessions where we dive into some big topics, and we got some couple topics coming up as well. So, again, not sure how often those types of shows will be out. I'm trying to get one of them each week, but if a decent library gets built up, then you never know when they're going to drop. So keep a lookout for those. Of course, we're on all the podcast feeds, and if you want to watch us, we're on YouTube, Inside the Force on YouTube. Thanks, everybody. Really, really appreciate it. Take care. See you soon. May the Force be with you.